Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. My name's Tyler, and in this video, I want to break down everything I did on becoming an enrolled agent. I'm going to talk about what an enrolled agent is, how to become certified, and some of the tips and tricks I picked up along the way. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you already know what an enrolled agent is. If you do, feel free to skip to this section that you'd like to watch below using the timestamps. If not, I'm going to give kind of a general overview of what it is, who gives it, and what their roles and responsibilities are. An enrolled agent is a federal designation given to a tax preparer from the IRS. It's the highest designation the IRS can give to a tax preparer, and it allows special privileges like things like representation in front of the IRS. Now, it's similar to a CPA or a tax attorney where an enrolled agent can represent a client in front of all levels of the IRS, including audit, but it's not as high of a designation as something like an attorney where you can represent clients in front of tax courts or different courts around the United States. Now, as far as the coursework itself, an enrolled agent primarily focuses on tax versus something like a CPA focuses on accounting. That's not to say that a CPA can't learn tax law or similar to an attorney can't learn tax law, but as far as the coursework itself, it's primarily focused on tax. Now, as of the recording of this video, there's only two ways to become an enrolled agent. Number one is a work requirement. If you worked at the IRS for at least 5 years, you can submit Form 23 to the IRS, go through a background check, and you'll become certified that way. Now, for most people, that's a little bit unrealistic. The second way of becoming an enrolled agent is taking what are called the C exams. Now, it's 3 parts, 100 questions each, and you can take them at different times. The different parts are, number one, individuals. So think Form 1040, individual credits, personal general tax advice, think your own personal tax return. Number two is businesses. So think business entities, think basis, think distributions, think taxation, different types for different entities. That's number two. Number three is representation. So think, what are the roles representing in front of the IRS? Think, what is a power of attorney, due diligence requirements, things like that. That's number three. Now, as far as difficulty for each of the exams, in my opinion, I think number 3 is the easiest, number 2 is the hardest, and number 1 is in between. So how did I pass the exam? The most important thing I kept in the back of my mind the entire time I started studying all the way through the last exam was remembering I didn't need a 100%. Now, if you're somebody who wants to go for 100%, you can go for it. But for me, remembering that and studying the most crucial parts of the exams kept me balanced. You can spend thousands of hours trying to get every corner case, every little credit detail memorized, but you don't really need that for the exams. So just let's take part 1, for example. It's 100 multiple choice questions. 15 of those questions are test questions, so non-weighted. And out of the rest of those, you need to get about a 60%. Depending on the scoring and depending on the exam, you kind of want to aim anywhere between a 60 and 80% correct answer completion, because the weighting of the exam goes from a 40 to a 130. Okay? So it's a 40 and a 130. So if you get 0 questions right, you'll get a 40. You get all the questions right, you get a 130. Now you need a 105 to pass the exam. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, what's the exact number I need to get right? The IRS is a little bit opaque when it comes to the scoring, but think of it like this. The most important questions during the exam are weighted heavier than some of the questions that they might not think people know, or they're testing questions out, things like that. So it's not you need to get X number of questions right, it's more you need to get the most important questions right to get the most amount of score to get a 105. So just remember, you don't need a 100. Don't burn yourself out trying to get a perfect score because you don't need one. As far as regulated tools and coursework goes to pass the exams, I used a website called Hock International. Now, I'm not sponsored or affiliated with these guys at all, but they are awesome. They have textbooks, video lectures, multiple mock exams for each of the parts. They respond to your questions over email within a few hours most of the time. They're great. I would highly recommend them. If you're looking around at different sites and different bookwork, definitely recommend Hock International. Cannot say enough great things about those guys. Now, in addition to using Hock International, I would use things like ChatGPT and different AI tools to kind of explain a different scenario. Like, let's say this business distributes property to this person. what is their basis before and after the procedure, things like that, which is extremely helpful. But a huge warning. I've had multiple times where I ask an AI bot a tax question and it gives me its best guess, but it was wrong. And so to keep that in mind, if you see an answer and just double check it, find another source. Don't totally take a lot of these AI bots at face value because they're good. They're 90% good most of the time. I've had very little problems with them, but especially in very nuanced, tax professional things that we have to know, do not rely on them at face value. They're going to burn you. Another helpful tip you guys can use to help pass the exams is if you go on either the IRS website or Prometric, which is the testing body that administers the exams. Both of those websites give you a breakdown of the topics, bullet pointed of what you have to know for each section for the exams. Now, it's not an exhaustive list, but it's a great resource for if you're not totally sure what's covered, you see different things in different places on the internet, go to either the Prometric website, type in C exam part 1, organizer or outline, something like that. It'll pop up, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you can use that as a study guide. That is very helpful. So you'll wonder, okay, is this credit on there? Is depreciation on there? What do I have to know? That's a great place to start. Now, I'm sure everybody out there has different levels of test taking skills, and some people are, better or worse at certain things. These are the steps that work for me. If you guys have any questions about, test day tips or any kind of questions about the exams, scheduling, things like that, feel free to leave a comment. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. I've got some more helpful videos about this topic coming out in the future, so be subscribed, turn on the bell for that. And if not, I'll see you guys later.